Hello and welcome back to another Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon video. Today we're going to be talking about some weapons, so I'm going to be ranking the one-handed weapons, essentially. And so what I did is after a full playthrough in this game, I collected every single weapon I could from every single person, place, whatever, that I could. So I think I've collected at least one of every single one. And then I leveled them up, you know, by coming up into the castle up here and talking to our blacksmith friend here and sharpening the weapons. And I measured all of the stats at every upgrade level, or at least in intervals. So I start at level 1, obviously, then I measure them at level 5, level 10, 20, 40, and then I see how high you have to level them up to get them up to 120 for their damage. And so weapons in this game have a damage range, so if you look at it, it'll say 15 to 16. Every one that I measured, I took the bottom number so that you have the guarantee of hitting at least that much. So some of them will have a higher potential number on the high end, but I care more about that consistent low number, and so that's how I ranked all of these. So just keep that in mind throughout the video. So like I said, I measured them at level 1, 5, 10, 20, 40, and then saw how long it took to get each one to that minimum damage of 120, which makes it an extremely effective weapon that can, you know, one-shot most basic enemies. So with that in mind, there are several different categories, and so basically my plan today is to talk about the top 3 weapons for each category of one-handed weapons, and the categories are weight classes. So the heavier the weight of your weapon, the slower it swings and the more stamina it takes. So some of the weapons that deal the highest single hit damage also take a ridiculous amount of stamina, so you can only swing them, you know, once or twice before you need to let your stamina recharge. So that is something to be considered, and then obviously some of the very light ones that you can swing a lot just have really short reach. You know, we're talking about daggers for that one. So like I said, I'll be talking about the top 3 for each class and kind of going through the perks, pros and cons, all that sort of stuff as we go through. So let's just dive on in. So our first class is the very heavy class. These are the heaviest one-handed weapons we're going to find. They deal the most damage, you know, single hit damage, but they take a lot of stamina. So just to demonstrate what that looks like, so I have the WARPICK equipped. See how much stamina that takes out? It really eats it up fast. And now this is on a character where I've leveled the character up significantly high. You know, the lower your level is, the more that's going to eat up. But that being said, stats on this one are extremely good. Probably the highest damage one-handed weapon in the entire game. So this one starts off with a range of 39 to 46 at level 1. That minimum that you've got once you get up to level 5 is going to be 49. Level 10 is 58. Level 20 is 76. Level 40 is 112. And at level 45, you'll have 120 for that minimum on there. So the WARPICK does incredibly high damage and does make an extremely good weapon. It does just require a decent amount of stamina to use. So that is the first one for the very heavy category. The second one is just the worn WARPICK. It's a much more rare version of the weapon, but it's all rusty, but it basically operates exactly the same. So the only difference is the stats are slightly worse on this one, starting off at a range of 34 to 37. This one at level 5, you'll have that minimum of 43. At level 10, it'll be 52. Level 20, you'll be 70. At level 40, you're only at 106. And once you get up to level 48, you'll be at 120. So the worn WARPICK is a lot like the regular WARPICK. It's just, you know, a slight step down. Next up for the very heavy category, the third place one is the Staff of OTHILA. This one is a staff weapon, obviously, and it's got that base damage starting off at level 1 of 30 to 32. So again, smaller than the ones lower than the ones we've looked at already for very heavy. But then at level 5, you're at 40. At level 10, you're at 49. Level 20, you're at 67. Level 40, you're at 103. And by level 50, you'll be dealing 120 damage on the bottom end. So that is the Staff of OTHILA, and that is the last one for the very heavy category, or at least the top 3 there. Moving into just the heavy class, we have the Broadaxe taking the number 1 spot. Now, it's complicated because the Broadaxe is right out the gate. It's going to have the best damage at level 1, but then once you've leveled it up to level 5, it no longer does, because the Broadaxe does not go up, or at least currently doesn't. Maybe it's bugged, we'll have to see. But currently, if you try upgrading the Broadaxe, you can spend money on it, but it's not going to increase the damage. It stays at 29 to 32 the whole time. That being said, for a level 1 weapon, the Broadaxe is the highest out of all of the heavy class, because 29 is the highest that you can get for any of them as a minimum. That being said, at level 5, it still only does 29, and all the way up through level 40, whatever. You can't ever go up from there. So the Broadaxe is great if you haven't upgraded anything yet, but once you start upgrading, I don't recommend spending it on the Broadaxe. If you do want to spend some on a heavy class for single-handed weapons, the OLDTREE staff is the next one. This one starts off at 26, so lower for that minimum, minimum, or 25, lower at that minimum than the broadaxe did, but it does come with a perk, so it says grants an extra 30% physical damage reduction while blocking, so that is useful. But at level 5, this one will have 35, at level 10 it'll have 43, level 20 it'll have 61, level 40 will be at 97, and once you get it to level 53, you'll be at 120 for minimum damage. So the old tree spot is another contender for the heavy class. And finally, for the heavy class, we've got the number 3 spot going to the Skull Staff, so another staff type weapon. This one starts off with 18 to 22 damage, so it's a little bit lower, but it comes with that 25% mana shield, and 5% of damage dealt is restored as mana, so definitely useful if you're going for a mage type character. I think it plays really well for that. And at level 5, this one will do 27 damage for the minimum, level 10 it'll be 36, level 20 it's 54, level 40 it's 90, and by level 57 it'll be doing 120. So that is the third and final one for the heavyweight class. Moving into the medium weight class, which is personally my favorite because it gives you the best balance between power and stamina drain. But moving into the medium class, the best one we've got is the KAMELOT Soldier's GLADIUS. This one is a common weapon. A lot of the different enemies in the game will have this, so you'll find yourself picking it up a lot. This one starts at 32 to 39 damage, so very, very respectable. It's immediately one of the best weapons that you can get. Upgrading it to level 5 will get you 42 damage, level 10 will get you 51, level 20 will get you 69, level 40 will get you 104, and at level 49 it'll be doing 120. So paired with the fact that it's got nicer reach, it takes less stamina to use, and does, you know, very, very substantial damage. Honestly, the KAMELOT Soldier's GLADIUS is going to be one of the best one-handed weapons you can get, but it takes the number 1 spot for the medium class of one-handed weapons. At number 2 for one-handed weapons, we've got for medium one-handed weapons, we've got the spiked mace, which you can see me holding here. It's basically just a spiky morning star, which I think looks quite nice. This one starts off with the 27 damage. Now, the nice thing about the spiked mace is that it doesn't actually have a range. Whatever your damage is at, that's what it will do. So, unfortunately, you don't have that high end, but you've got a very consistent damage dealing weapon. So at level 5 it'll be 36, at level 10 it'll be 45, at level 20 it's 63, at level 40 it's 99, and by level 52 it'll be doing 120 damage every time you hit with it. So the spiked mace is definitely a cool looking weapon. I am partial to maces, and this one is a very classic look to it. Plus stat wise it's very, very good. So it takes the number 2 spot for the best medium one-handed weapons. And our third and final spot for the medium one-handed weapons goes to the machete. So this is another one that is super common. You'll find it all over the place. Lots of enemies wielding this one. It starts off doing 25 to 30 damage, but as you upgrade it to level 5, you'll have 35 damage, level 10 will be 43, level 20 is 61, level 40 is 97, and at level 53 it'll be doing 120 damage. So very comparable to the spiked mace, just a little bit worse of a weapon. That being said, it is, like I said, easy to find. The only downside of the machete is that it has limited reach, so it's not nearly as long as a lot of the other swords in the game. But that is the number 3 spot for the medium one-handed weapons. Moving on into the light category, we have the best light one-handed weapon being the hand axe. This one starts off with a damage of 22 to 27 for our range, but if you upgrade it to level 5, it'll be 31. Level 10 will be 40, level 20 is 58, level 40 is 94, and at level 55, you'll be doing 120 damage for the minimum on this one. It's an axe, so I love the way they look. Again, much like maces, I am partial to axes as well. And this one does have a decent reach for it. So the hand axe is the best of the light one-handed weapons. The second best of the light one-handed weapons is the short sword, which you actually get very early in the game, during the tutorial in fact. And so this one starts off with a damage range of 18 to 22, but if you upgrade it to level 5, you're at 27. Level 10, you're at 36. Level 20, you're at 54. Level 40, you're at 90, and by level 57, you'll be doing 120 damage with this one. So the short sword, I think, looks super cool. It's got the stereotypical medieval, you know, cruciform arming sword look to it that I like a lot, and that definitely goes with the knight-type character. So yes, the short sword is a good weapon, even though it's one of the first ones you get. It is worth upgrading and holding on to. So that is number 2 for light one-handed weapons. Let's move on to the third one. And so for the third and final light one-handed weapon, we have the hatchet. This is another one that's very common. I find myself with just a bunch of these after a loot run. It starts with the 18 to 20 damage range, but if you upgrade it to level 5, you'll be at 27, level 10, you'll be at 36, level 20, you'll be at 54, level 40, you'll be at 90, and by level 57, you'll be at 120. So very comparable to the short sword, basically the same thing. The short sword edges this one out just because it has better reach than the hatchet. That being said, you know, depending on the aesthetic you're going for, you might want to choose it. But so if you're sticking to light one-handed weapons, the hand axe, the short sword, and the and the hatchet. So that's light. Let's move on to the last category of one-handed weapons. And that category is the very light category. So these ones are ones that weigh almost nothing, typically less than 1 weight unit. I assume pounds, but it could be kilograms. I have no idea because there's no indication there. But that being said, the best one for the very light category is the REDCAP'S dagger. This one starts with a damage range of 20 to 23, but as you upgrade it to level 5, you'll be at 29, level 10, you'll be at 38, level 20, you'll be at 56, level 40, you'll be at 92, and by level 56, you'll be at 120. So the REDCAP'S dagger is easy to get. Basically, you kill any REDCAP enemies and they're going to drop it most of the time. So you'll find yourself with quite a few of these floating around. Next up, at the second best very light one-handed weapon, we have the Wolf's Fang. This is a unique dagger that you get from taking out, I think her name was Scylla the Silent, or it's supposed to be her, but I think it's currently a guy in the game. That being said, like I said, it's called the Wolf's Fang. It starts off with the damage range of 20 to 27, plus you get a bonus of performing a sneak attack adds extra 50% damage. So if you want to be an assassin and sneak up behind people and stab them with the dagger, the Wolf's Fang is extremely good for that. Once you upgraded this one to level 5, you'll be at 29 damage, level 10 you'll be at 38, level 20 you'll be at 56, level 40 you'll be at 92, and at level 56 it'll be doing 120 damage. So same stats as the REDCAP'S dagger, just slightly inferior reach and a little bit harder to get. And lastly, for our very light one-handed weapons, we have the dagger, which is, pretty self-explanatory. I think this one looks really cool. I like the visual aesthetic of it. It's basically just a shrunken down arming sword, and I like that. As far as stats on this one, we start with a damage range of 15 to 16, but as you upgrade it to level 5, you'll be at 24, level 10 you'll be at 33, level 20 you'll be at 51, level 40 you'll be at 86, and at level 59 you'll be doing 120. So that is the final one-handed weapon to talk about today, and it takes the third place for the very light category. So like I said, there are a ton of weapons in the game, but not so many that I wanted to break them down into individual videos for like every weapon style or every weapon class. I figured we'd stick to just one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, and etc. So that is the best of each one. If you are trying to decide which weapons to upgrade, the ones I've showed today give you the best bang for your buck, because there's about twice as many weapons as what I showed today, and the rest of them can be made to have equally good stats. They will just require more money and time. So the ones I showed you today are the most economic to upgrade. So that being said, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful, but we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.